The stars outside were quiet, but inside the black moon, nothing was still. 13 alien ships hung above a frozen rock orbiting a dead gas giant, hidden far from any charted galaxy. This was not a moon where stars were studied or wars were fought. This was where decisions were made, dark decisions. Deep within the surface of the moon, inside a chamber built from black stone and humming crystals, 13 beings stood in a circle. Each one was from a different species. Claws, tendrils, and eyes that glowed in strange colors. They had gathered for one reason: the vote to begin Project Ashfall, the complete elimination of humanity from the galaxy. Their voices echoed like whispers soaked in poison. The high speaker of the Draws, a spider-like creature with 6 arms, and a crown of bone, raised her long finger. We warned Earth. We offered silence in exchange for submission. But the humans, they build, they fight, they spread. Another alien, short and wide like a walking boulder with a deep red glow in its throat, growled. They are not bound by fear. That makes them dangerous. Others nodded, some with heads, others with flutters of fins or strange blinking lights. At the edge of the room stood one figure cloaked in blue armor. His eyes were covered by a visor, and his voice had never joined their meetings. He was known only as Valak of the Serati, a quiet race of energy-based beings who rarely left their home nebula. The others did not trust the Serati, but they had no proof of lies. Valak had earned his place at the table through years of silence, always voting, never speaking. That silence was now his weapon, because Valak was not Serati. He was not alien, he was human. Agent Riven, trained in Earth's most secret biolabs, modified at birth to blend into alien societies, had been embedded for 7 long years among the galactic elite. His skin had been altered to shimmer like plasma. His blood was laced with synthetic particles that fooled even the strongest alien scanners. His voice box could shift between over 100 vocal patterns. And now, in the most dangerous room in the galaxy, he listened as 13 empires plotted to destroy his home. The vote began. Each representative placed their hand, limb, or biosignature into the glowing center of the black stone table. One after another, the crystal in the center pulsed red. Yes, yes, yes. When the 6th pulse rang, Riven felt his chest tighten. The vote would be unanimous. That meant complete military cooperation. Earth would not survive it. The Draws Queen smiled with fangs. The time has come. Humanity will fall within 72 cycles. Then it happened. The Calari ambassador, a tall, eel-like being wrapped in a glowing exosuit, whispered something to the others in a tongue not meant for outsiders. Riven, trained in hundreds of alien dialects, understood every word. There may be spies. Even now, Earth has slipped spies into our trade systems. What if one is among us? Riven did not move. Another alien barked, the Serati have always been quiet. Too quiet. The Dross Queen's eyes turned slowly toward Riven. Valak, you have never spoken a word. Why should we trust your silence? Riven's mind moved fast. He had trained for this moment, but not this early. He shifted, the pitch of his voice mimicking the energy-patterned speech of the Serati, and said slowly, the Serati believe in balance. Earth is out of balance. We agree with Ashfall. The Queen narrowed her gaze. The Calari's tentacles curled inward, but the tension passed. The final votes were cast. 13 pulses. 13 yes. The room darkened. A long blue light scanned every being as they left the table. Security scan. Riven stood still, his heartbeat slowed by chemical control. When the light passed, his skin shimmered correctly. His heat signature matched the Serati. It was clear. For now. But he knew someone had noticed. Later, as he walked down a quiet corridor toward the hangar, his mind raced. Earth had 72 hours. No time to send a message through standard channels. He had to escape the Black Moon and activate the Omega Protocol. That would send a pulse through Mars' deep relay, a signal that only Earth's hidden defense force could hear. He entered the hangar. Starships shaped like giant insect shells floated in black mist. He approached the one marked for Sarati use and placed his hand on the panel. It opened, but just before he entered, a voice echoed from behind. "You are not Sarati." Riven turned fast. The Kalari ambassador stood there, one hand glowing with a pulse weapon, the other lifting a neural scan probe. Riven didn't speak. He lunged forward, twisting his arm in a way no Sarati could, grabbing the Kalari's weapon and flipping it into the air. Kalari screamed, but Riven struck him with a bone-snap punch to the jaw. The eel-like alien fell hard, twitching. No alarms had gone off yet. He pulled the probe, raced the past 10 seconds of footage, and dragged the Kalari behind a power core. He couldn't leave evidence. Not now. Inside the ship, he sat down. Breath heavy, heart pounding. A single word escaped his lips in English. The first English spoken on that moon in history. Time to go home. The ship rose in silence, leaving the black moon behind. Behind him, the galaxy had decided Earth must burn. But Earth wasn't sleeping. One of their own had heard the whisper in the shadows, and now the humans were coming. Mars was quiet, too quiet. The red planet floated like a sleeping ghost under the light of its 2 moons. But deep beneath its surface, far below the ancient canyons and abandoned research colonies, something very old and very dangerous waited, in silence. Buried under layers of rock, dust, and camouflage shields, Omega Station had been sealed for over 20 years. No signals, no lights, no doors. It wasn't just hidden, it had been erased, and now it was waking up. Riven's ship limped toward the Martian surface, trailing smoke and sparks. His engines had barely survived the escape from the inner ring. Shields were gone. Weapons were dead. One more hit, and the ship would break apart. But he didn't need it to survive space anymore. Only needed it to land any way he could. Martian atmosphere ripped against the hull like knives. Alarms screamed. Riven braced himself as the ship struck the ground hard, sliding across red rock and sand, tumbling once, then slamming into a dune. Silence followed. Smoke rose from the wreck. Riven kicked the cockpit open and crawled out. His arm was bleeding, ribs cracked, but he was alive, and more importantly, he was home. He looked out at the horizon, nothing but dust and stone. But he wasn't fooled. Somewhere nearby was the trigger. A hidden switch that would open the door no one could see. He reached into his belt and pulled out a black crystal shard, the key. He held it up to the wind and whispered in Earth code, "Black Star. Requiem, Riven'll live." Nothing happened at first. Then, slowly, the ground began to hum. A circle of red sand pulled inward, revealing a glowing platform beneath. A cold metal staircase unfolded from beneath the dust. Lights clicked on blue, clean, human. Riven stepped onto the platform and disappeared below. Omega Station was awake. Inside, everything felt wrong. The lights were too bright, the air too clean. Riven hadn't breathed Earth-made oxygen in 7 years, and yet nothing had changed. The walls were lined with dark steel, reinforced glass, and old Earth logos no longer in use. Screens flickered to life as he passed, scanning his DNA. Welcome. BACK agent arrived Wyvian, but he wasn't alone. As he stepped into the main command center, 4 humans turned to face him. 2 wore black uniforms marked with red triangles, Omega defense officers. The third was an old man in a lab coat, his face half covered with breathing gear, and the fourth tall, broad-shouldered, short gray hair, and a single cybernetic eye was General Ray. Her voice was ice. "You better have something damn good, Riven. You just woke up a sleeping dragon." Riven didn't waste time. He tossed the Sarati data core onto the table. 13 empires. 13 yes votes. They're coming to destroy Earth. Project Ashfall has begun. The room went silent. General Ray stepped forward and placed her hand on the core. Her cybernetic eye scanned it in seconds. "What's the countdown?" she asked. "Less than 70 hours, Riven said. "Maybe less now." The old scientist cursed softly. "We don't have time to verify. You don't need to," Riven cut in. "I risked everything to bring that core. They suspect me. They nearly caught me. If you delay, Earth is dead." General Ray nodded slowly. "Activate Blackstar." The scientist hesitated. Are you sure? That means I said do it? The room changed. Alarms glowed red. Lights dimmed. Panels opened across the walls, revealing rows of keys and locked protocols. One by one, Omega officers entered codes. Then from the far end of the room, a sealed vault hissed open. Inside were 6 command modules, black cubes with glowing cores. Ray stepped forward and pressed her palm to the largest one. Black Star Protocol confirmed Earth defense. It network online hidden fleets, AWAK Yana, from the frozen oceans of Europa to the lava mines of Venus. Silent Earth ships began to rise. Long-forgotten cruisers powered by AI gravity-bending destroyers. Stealth bombers cloaked in black light all began to wake, but not everyone in Omega was happy. The 2 officers turned to General Ray. Ma'am, this will expose everything. One said, the fleet, the tech, the real capabilities. If the Alien Council survives this, Earth will never be safe again. We were never safe, Ray answered. We just pretended. Then she looked at Riven. You're not done. Brought us the message. Now you're going to help us answer it. How? Riven asked. There's one more base, Ray said. Deeper. Below this one, even older. It was shut down before you were born. It holds something we swore never to use unless Earth faced total extinction. The old scientist shook his head. You can't be serious, I am. Ray's. The voice was final. It's time. She turned to Riven. You're going to lead the recon team. You're going to retrieve the Ark protocol. Riven frowned. What's in the Ark? Ray stared at him. Not what. Who? In the silence that followed, Riven understood one thing. Earth had been waiting for this moment, and it had prepared monsters of its own. The black moon faded behind him, but Agent Riven knew the real danger had just begun. As his ship slipped into the darkness of space, every part of his body stayed tense. He couldn't relax. Not yet, maybe not ever. The Kalari ambassador had seen through his cover. Others might already be searching. If even one of them had triggered a silent alert, he wouldn't make it far. The Cerati-class ship was sleek, designed for stealth and speed, but it was still in the heart of the inner ring, the most secure area in the Alien Alliance. The station orbiting the Black Moon monitored all ships. Dozens of sentry drones drifted like silent ghosts in every direction. They weren't piloted, they weren't merciful. They shot first, then disintegrated the remains. Riven typed a command into the ship's main system. Initiate Cerati Transit Protocol. Destination, Sector 9 Delta. A soft blue light swept across the dashboard. A smooth alien voice replied. Cerati biosignal accepted. Clearance granted. For a moment it worked. The ship's engines powered up and Riven slid into the dark lanes between the stars. But then ping? A red symbol flashed across the screen. Not normal. Query received. Identity verification level 4. That wasn't standard. Level 4 meant emergency checks deep, scans through ship memory, navigation logs, and biological data. Someone knew, or at least suspected. Riven had seconds. He pulled up the ship's AI core, locked its physical data vault, and launched a virus into its memory stream. The code was human-designed to make the AI behave as if it had just suffered minor system damage. Within seconds, the screen changed. Cerati vessel unstable. Memory corruption detected. Verification paused. Route rerouted to repair bay. He wasn't fooled. The reroute was a trap. They wanted him to dock. Slow him down. Catch him alive. Not today, he whispered. He cut the power to the main engines and flipped to manual. The ship dropped out of the trade lane like a dying starfish, spinning hard toward the edge of the inner ring. G-forces slammed against his chest. Lights dimmed. But he didn't stop. He flew low, below the sensor grid, skimming a ring of asteroid. Dust that had collected for centuries. Then the worst thing happened. The drones woke up. 3 small black ships unfolded from nowhere, shaped like floating daggers. They didn't need to lock on. They didn't even need orders. They were designed to kill anything outside protocol. They fired. Blue plasma bolts shot across space. One bolt slammed into his right wing. The ship bucked hard, alarms screaming. Riven grabbed the controls with both hands and angled toward the debris field orbiting the second moon of the gas giant. If he could reach it, he could use the metal wreckage as cover. Maybe lose them? Maybe. The drone ships followed without hesitation. He twisted between twisted hulls of ancient warships. Some rusted, others frozen, solid. It's like flying through the bones of a battlefield. One wrong move, and he'd become part of the wreckage behind him. The drones kept coming, faster, smarter. Riven tapped a red switch near the ship's armrest. Deploy grav mines, for blinking spheres ejected from the rear of his ship, floating silently. Seconds later, boom, one. Drone collided with a mine, exploded in blue fire. Another was clipped by a spinning metal beam and tore apart. Only one drone remained. Riven dove into a narrow space between a shattered cruiser and a half-melted alien freighter. Sparks danced across the hull. He pulled hard left to hard. The edge of his wing clipped a panel. His ship spun out, warning lights screaming. The last drone closed in. Riven had one move left. He reached under the console and pulled out a small glowing box, Earth-made, illegal in every system. A micro-EMP burst. One-time use. Range, 100 meters. He waited, counted the seconds. 3, 2, 1. Click. The device hummed, then exploded with a silent flash. The drone stopped moving, just froze. Its systems shut down. Riven didn't wait. He fired. The last of his engine power shot forward and broke through the edge of the debris field. Freedom, but his ship was badly damaged. He couldn't reach Earth directly, not from this deep, so he made the only choice that made sense. He set course for Mars. There, hidden under the red dust, was a place no alien had ever entered. Not a base, not a city, something far more secret. Omega Station, a forgotten outpost built before Earth joined the galactic network, even Earth's own. Governments had erased it from memory. Only agents like Riven knew it existed. There, he could trigger Protocol Black Star's emergency beacon. It's not for peace. Not for negotiation, for war. As the ship limped through space, Riven sat back and stared at the stars. The vote had passed. Earth's destruction had begun. But they had made a mistake. They plotted in secret, unaware that one of them had never been theirs. He was born of Earth, raised in shadow, built to listen, and now he would speak. From the edge of Earth's atmosphere to the icy moons of Neptune, something ancient stirred. Forgotten systems powered up. Hidden hangars groaned open beneath layers of rock, ice, and deception. And one by one, ships rose, black, silent, and armed with weapons no alien had ever seen before. The human war fleet, long buried and kept secret from even Earth's own people, had been awakened. Inside Omega Station, General Ray stood before a massive wall of screens. Dozens of images flickered across the display, each showing a different launch site from under the Arctic ice cap. 6 Dreadnought-class warships broke free like black whales surfacing after centuries of sleep. In the dense jungles of South America, camouflage towers fell back as atmospheric launchers pushed stealth bombers into low orbit. In the deep trenches of the Pacific Ocean, robotic subs that had watched alien movements in silence now surfaced, opening missile bays that glowed red with plasma cores. Each vessel bore no flag, no name. Only one symbol, the Circle of Earth, split down the center by a white lightning bolt. This was not the fleet of the United Nations or of any world government. This was Earth's Shadow Fleet, built in secret by a coalition of scientists, soldiers, and strategists who believed the galaxy would one day turn against humanity. They had been right, and now their fleet rose not to conquer, but to survive. In the lower levels of Omega Station, Riven stepped into a cold, narrow corridor, unlike any other part of the base. The walls here were not smooth metal, but raw rock and thick cables. The deeper he walked, the colder the air became, as if time itself had frozen here. Beside him walked Dr. Halden, the old scientist who had first resisted Black Star. His eyes looked tired. "They sealed this section before I joined Omega," Halden said quietly. No one wanted to admit it even existed. Not after what happened. What happened? Riven asked. Halden didn't answer. They reached a wide vault door. On it, one word was etched in steel. Arc. Riven placed his hand on the scanner. The system hesitated, then clicked. Inside, the chamber was dark. Rows of pods lined the walls, each one large enough to hold a human. Inside the blue glowing capsules, pale bodies floated in silence. They don't look like soldiers, Riven said. They're not, Halden replied. They're consequences. Riven frowned. Explain. Walked to the center of the room and activated the central console. Hologram appeared. An old video file. A much younger Ray stood in the image, speaking into a camera. If you're watching this, she said, then Earth is under threat so great, normal weapons will not be enough. The Ark project was not a weapon. It was an idea, experiment. These people volunteered for genetic enhancement beyond accepted limits. Intelligence, strength, combat instinct, even emotion control. But something went wrong. The screen flickered. The image changed. Screams, blood, a testing lab torn apart. Then blackness. The recording ended. Halden spoke again. We couldn't control them, but we learned to contain them. And now, we need them. Riven looked around. 50 pods. 50 human monsters, he hesitated. If we release them, can we trust them? No, Halden said. But we can point them at the enemy. Back on the surface of Mars, Earth's command fleet gathered in low orbit. Riven watched from a carrier bridge as one ship after another joined formation, the EDS Revenant. Earth's largest battleship hovered at the center. 2 kilometers long, armored with neutron-dense alloys, and powered by a quantum heart core. Reactor, it could wipe out an entire moon if necessary. All around it were smaller destroyers, stealth frigates, and drone clouds ready for swarm defense. General Ray's voice echoed across the command channel. This is not a drill. The Alien Alliance has voted to destroy Earth. Their attack will come soon, but we will not wait for death. We will strike first, and we will show them that humanity was not born to kneel. The fleet's engines powered up inside the bridge. Riven stared at the display of known enemy fleet movements. There were too many. Even with Earth's fleet fully awake, their numbers were outmatched. We can't win by force, he said quietly. They have more ships, more territory. They control the trade lanes and communication beacons. We're not trying to win. By size, Ray replied. We're going to win by something they've never faced before. Riven looked at her. What's that? She smiled faintly. A Death Worlder's rage. She tapped a button on her chair. Released the Ark. In Omega Station, red lights flared. Pod after pod hissed open. Steam poured into the chamber as bodies stepped out, men and women shaped like humans, but different. Their eyes glowed. Their muscles rippled unnaturally. One of them, taller than the others, looked around. His voice was cold. Who do we kill? Earth's enemies did not know what was coming. They believed humans were reckless, emotional, primitive. They didn't understand what Earth had hidden. Not just ships, not just weapons, but minds sharper than blades, hearts harder than stone, and monsters born in silence. The silence before war is always the loudest. In the black vacuum between Mars and the asteroid belt, Earth's war fleet hovered like a swarm of steel predators, waiting for the command to unleash everything they'd kept hidden for decades. On board the command ship Revenant, lights dimmed as weapon systems charged, and long-range communications went dark. This mission wasn't about sending warnings. It was about survival. General Ray stood on the bridge, surrounded by officers from every background, some military, some intelligence, others who didn't officially exist. The screens showed a live pulse feed of the enemy's forward base near the Helix Cloud, a swirling nebula used by the Alien Alliance as a staging ground. Satellite scans showed hundreds of alien vessels gathering there. Unaware that death was already on its way, Ray didn't blink as she gave the order. Execute Operation Emberfall. Begin the first strike. The command ship shook gently as dozens of plasma warheads were armed. Across the fleet, engines roared silently in space, and within seconds, the Earth Defense Armada moved fast, precise. Deadly Riven stood in a black armored suit in the loading bay of the EDS Arclight. Watching the final prep sequence for the Arc soldiers, 50 enhanced humans, each stronger than a tank, each trained with one purpose: destroy. They didn't speak unless ordered. They moved like wolves controlled, but always one heartbeat away from violence. He looked to the lead Arc soldier, the tall man with eyes like burning coals. His name was Thorn, though Riven had heard whispers of his original title, the Reaper. Of Saturn Base, back when he broke containment during a test and destroyed an entire station. Mission is simple, Riven said, keeping his voice steady. We drop on the Helix base. We take control of the enemy's command tower. And we upload virus code into their targeting network. That will blind them. It'll give Earth a 20-minute advantage before the main attack. Thorn smirked. And after that, Riven replied, we hold or die. Thorn cracked his neck. Fair enough. The drop pods were launched, black spheres, burning through space like meteors. Each pod carried one Arc unit and one Marine backup. Riven rode with Thorn. The silence in the pod was brutal. No music. No updates. Just pressure and a countdown ticking down from 60. The pods slammed into the surface of the alien base like hammer blows. Shields shattered. Dust exploded. Sirens screamed. The alien defense lines, made of glass-armored serpentkin, and biomechs rushed to respond. They weren't fast enough. Thorn burst from his pod first, moving like a shadow turned solid. He ripped the head off the first alien before it could raise a weapon. Another Arc soldier smashed a tank with his fists, sending burning metal in all directions. Riven followed, the weapons hot, moving toward the command tower with a small team of Earth Marines. Lasers zipped past them. The air stank of fire, blood, and something ancient. Alien officers inside the tower began scrambling codes, but Riven was already there. He slammed a viral drive into the command panel and began the upload. Outside the window, the battlefield glowed red. Arc soldiers fought like nightmares come to life, unstoppable. But numbers were starting to matter. For every alien that fell, more arrived. Upload at 74%. The system blinked. An alien commander twice the size of a man armored. An obsidian and bone smash through the far wall, roaring as it charged. Before Riven could react, Thorn stepped in its path. The two clashed like titans. Sparks flew, blood sprayed, Thorn's armor cracked, Alien's skull caved halfway. Still, neither fell. Upload at 98%. Finally, with a growl like tearing steel, Thorn drove both hands into the alien's chest and ripped out its heart still glowing with core energy. The body collapsed. The terminal pinged. Upload complete. Earth now had control. From orbit. General Ray watched the enemy fleet's targeting systems glitch, spark, and shut down. Confusion spread across the alien command. Their missiles didn't launch. Their shields blinked off. Their internal defenses turned silent. That's when Earth struck, from behind asteroid fields. Earth's stealth destroyers emerged and fired volleys of neutron-laced torpedoes. Massive cruisers dropped into low orbit and opened fire. Space lit up like 1,000 suns as alien ships exploded, cracked apart, or fled. The Helix base was burning. Ray gave her final command. No prisoners. On the ground, Riven pulled his helmet off and took one long breath. The base was falling. The aliens were retreating. Smoke covered everything. Arc soldiers walked among the ruins like giants, untouched by flame or fear. Thorn stood beside him, blood dripping from one arm but smiling. You humans always build such big words around simple truths, he said. They thought they could kill you, but they forgot the one thing that makes Earth dangerous. What's that? Riven asked. Thorn looked up at the human fleet in the sky. You hit back? The first strike was complete. Earth had drawn. First blood, and the galaxy would never forget it. but far away, in a golden system at the edge of known space. The leaders of the alien alliance were already watching the destruction, and they were not afraid. They were angry, and they were preparing to answer. The fires of the helix base still glowed in the distance, a broken skeleton of metal and ash. The first strike had been brutal, overwhelming, and completely unexpected. Earth's shadow fleet had proven what the galaxy feared most, that humans were not just survivors. They were predators in waiting, but no war is ever simple. And in the darkness between stars, betrayal waits with cold patience. Riven stood on the command deck of the EDS Revenant, scanning the latest war reports. The assault had crippled 3 major alien supply lines. Communication networks across 2 sectors were now jammed with chaos. Earth had won the first round, but Riven's eyes stayed locked on one feed sector 1-4A, near the edge of neutral space, a location where no battles should have been happening. And yet 3 of Earth's ships were burning. "Play it again," he said. The feed replayed. Earth's escort cruisers moving through neutral trade space. No warning, no scan alarms. Then ambush, an ion blast from above, a gravity mine from below. 3 ships turned to fire, then one by one, their reactors exploded. But it wasn't the alien alliance who attacked. The ship in the footage wasn't even part of the enemy fleet. It was an Earth ally, a vessel registered under the Valari Pact. A neutral species that had promised peace and non-interference. General Ray walked up behind him. "So it begins." "They turned," Riven said, anger building behind his calm voice. "They were always going to," Ray replied. "The Valari play both sides. They smiled at our embassies while selling code fragments to the enemy." This was Vazald. "Just their first open move? Do we strike them?" "You already have," Ray said coldly. "ARC units infiltrated one of their relay moons an hour ago. High Command won't be answering any messages for the next 10 years. But Riven wasn't satisfied. Something didn't add up. The Valari had no war fleet strong enough to attack Earth's cruisers in deep space. Someone had helped them, someone who knew Earth's flight patterns, security codes, weak spots. "We've got a traitor," he said aloud. Ray's eyes narrowed. "Inside Omega?" "Worse," Riven said. Hours later, inside Omega stations, lower databanks. Riven sat with Dr. Halden. Lines of DNA patterns, mission logs, and psychological scans rolled across the screen. He had pulled records for every ARC soldier, every technician, every command. Relay, looking for patterns, looking for gaps. There Halden pointed. Unit 27, designation. Mira. Combat rating exceptional. Loyalty score. Downgraded 2 weeks ago. Riven leaned closer. Mira had been quiet, skilled, deadly. But she had also been stationed on a deep space recon run, where Earth lost contact. With 1 ARC drone ship, no survivors. No cause determined. Halden tapped another file. "Look at this. Unauthorized access attempt into Omega's data vaults 2 days ago. Traced to a handheld registered to her. She's still active?" Halden nodded slowly. "Deployed 3 hours ago on a fleet enforcer. Destination, the Bastion Gate." Riven stood. "She's not going there to fight." He was already walking toward the armory before Halden finished the thought. Ray's voice echoed in his earpiece. "Where are you going?" "To stop a betrayal before it kills us all," Riven replied. The Bastion Gate was Earth's last defensive wall near the outer rim. A massive spaceport wrapped around an artificial wormhole, a secret route to Earth's core territories. Mira was heading there with ARC Clavel access. She could disable the entire gateway network, allowing alien fleets to slip past Earth's defense grid. That would mean death for billions. Riven arrived at the Bastion Command just in time to see the Enforcer's ship dock. Mira stepped out, dressed in black tactical armor, her expression calm to calm. He approached without hesitation. "Mira, I need a word." She turned slowly, eyes meeting his. "Didn't expect you here. I didn't expect to be," he said, "until I checked the access logs." She sighed, then smiled slightly. "So this is how it ends?" "I don't want to hurt you," he said, "but if you're carrying a virus fragment or even a disruptor key, Mira didn't let him finish. Her hand moved fast, striking his throat, then kicking his legs. He fell, rolled, and countered, slamming her into a bulkhead. They fought in silence, no screams, no words, just trained violence. Blades came out, sparks flew. She was strong, too strong, enhanced. But Riven wasn't just a fighter. He was trained to think like an alien, to adapt like a machine. He tricked her into a forward lunge, twisted behind, and jabbed her with a sedative spike. She froze mid-breath, collapsing to her knees. "I didn't want this," she whispered. "But Earth, we went too far." Riven knelt beside her. "They were going to wipe us out. Maybe we deserved it," she said. "We created monsters. You know it." Her eyes rolled back. She passed out. Riven stood slowly, heart pounding. This war was more than ships and soldiers. It was truth versus survival. Guilt versus instinct. Back on the Revenant, Ray read the report silently. "We'll lock her down in cryo. Can't trust her, can't kill her. Not yet." Riven stared out the window as alien ships regrouped beyond known space. He knew one thing now. The war was getting dirtier. The galaxy wasn't just turning against Earth. It was turning from the inside, and the worst was yet to come. The stars burned with war. In less than a week, the galaxy had changed forever. What began as a quiet plan and a secret moon meeting had now become a wildfire. The Alien Alliance believed Earth would be too disorganized, too emotional, too fractured to respond, but they had miscalculated. Earth didn't crumble. It hit back. Hard now, the time had come for the final blow. On the bridge of the EDS Revenant, General Ray stood in full combat gear, flanked by Riven, Thorn, and the remaining ARC team leaders. Behind them, a 3D projection spun slowly, a hologram of the Alien Alliance's heart, the Citadel of Orkson, a massive space fortress orbiting a neutron star, protected by a fleet of warships, energy shields, and gravitational mines. It was more than just a command center. It was a symbol. Destroying it wouldn't just break their fleet coordination, it would humiliate them. And in this war, pride mattered as much as power. "We hit the Citadel. We end their control of the war," Ray said. "It won't stop the galaxy from hating us, but it'll make them bleed enough to back off. Even monsters think twice when their leaders burn." Riven nodded. "What's the insertion plan?" "We'll jump in using the Salflare Gate. It hasn't been used in 50 years. They won't expect it. Our stealth units breach the lower shield towers. At the same time, the ARC units drop into the core." Thorn grinned. "Let me guess. We're the tip of the knife?" "You're the whole damn blade," Ray said. Then she looked to Riven. "And you're going with them. You know the Citadel's structure better than anyone alive." He did. 7 years of silence. 7 years of pretending to be one of them. He knew the corridors, the traps, the backup generators. He even knew where the council slept. Riven turned. "To the team, we take the Citadel. We break their war. But stay sharp. They'll throw everything at us. If they capture any of you alive, don't expect mercy." "Wasn't asking," Thorn said. The jump was rough. The Salflare Gate, hidden behind Saturn's shadow, hadn't been used since the last galactic conflict. Its core cracked open with a screech of light, and Earth's elite ships shot through the vortex like bullets. The ARC transports followed, silent and cold. The moment they emerged near the neutron star, alarms flared. Alien ships pivoted. Shields activated. But Earth had planned for that. A dozen cloaked drones, carrying anti-gravity bombs, detonated along the outer perimeter. Mines shattered. Shield towers blinked out. Then the ARC pods dropped. Each pod slammed into the Citadel like a meteor, cracking holes and blowing open airlocks. ARC soldiers poured out stronger, faster, deadlier than any alien expected. Riven ran alongside Thorn, carving through the chaos. The halls were packed with defenders and sectoid gunners, crystalline assassins, and biomech walkers. But the ARC units moved like a storm. Bones shattered, steel bent, blood stained the silver. Floors, Riven's neural map lit up. Core chamber, 200 meters. But there's a problem before he could finish. The ceiling exploded. A massive alien commander dropped into the hallway 7 feet tall, with molten skin and 4 plasma blades attached to each arm. A Fury-class Bragtide general. One of the few that had fought Deathworlders before and lived. Riven raised his rifle. Thorn stepped in front. I got this one. Now the two clashed like ancient gods. Thorn was brutal, fast, but the alien was a weapon forged over 1,000 battles. Sparks flew, walls shattered. Riven didn't stay to watch. The mission had to continue. He sprinted toward the core chamber with 3 arc units behind him. Alarms screamed louder. The Citadel's auto-defense system was activating. They reached the control room. Inside were the Council of 13, or what remained of them. 3 had escaped. 5 were dead from orbital shockwaves. The remaining 5 stood. With weapons drawn, one of them, the Draw's Queen, hissed in fury. You dare enter here, human? You're insects beneath our boots? Riven didn't speak. He raised his weapon and fired. The Queen fell first. The others charged, but the arc units tore through them like knives through mist. Within 60 seconds, the command chamber was under Earth's control. Riven stepped to the console and activated the final beacon. Upload complete, he said into his comms. The Citadel is ours. Across the stars, alien fleets received a final message, a live transmission. The Citadel in flames, the Draw's Queen dead, the Council broken, and Riven standing in their sacred war chamber. His voice was cold, calm, and final. You plan to destroy Earth? You sent fleets, assassins, spies. You plotted in the dark, thinking we wouldn't hear. But we did, and now you bleed. He leaned closer to the camera. Humanity doesn't start wars, but we always finish them. The screen cut to black. Back on the Revenant, Ray stood silently. As cheers erupted across every fleet channel, she looked toward Earth's blue icon blinking on the screen, still standing, still free for now. But even in victory, question burned in her mind. How long before the next war comes? And will humanity survive it again? The Citadel was ash. The alien alliance was shattered. Across the stars, silence spread like a cold wind. Earth had done the impossible, struck the heart of the galaxy's oldest war machine, and walked away alive. Billions watched the footage of Riven's speech. Millions cheered. But deep in Omega Station, beneath layers of rock and steel, a final threat waited one, not from the stars above, but from Earth's own shadow. Riven walked the silent halls of Omega's lower levels, the blood still drying on his armor. War felt over, but something inside him wouldn't settle. Something was wrong. The arc units had returned from the Citadel strike, but one pod never answered. And Maratha traitor cryo-frozen after her betrayal was missing from her chamber. He found Ray in the command center, standing over a flickering display. Her face was tight, eyes locked on a new transmission. She looked at him as if seeing a ghost. It's from inside Omega, she said quietly. An emergency broadcast on a restricted channel. One only I should have access to. Riven stepped forward. Play it. The screen lit up. Myra appeared, alive, eyes glowing brighter than before. But this wasn't the same woman he remembered. She looked ... evolved. You think the war is over? Mira said. But it was never just between humans and aliens. The real war has always been inside us. You built monsters to fight your enemies, and now you've lost control. Behind her, lights flashed. Alarms echoed. Then the screen cut to black. An automated voice blared. Unauthorized release detected. Arc level. Omega Prime. Alden burst into the room, pale and shaking. You sealed Arc 1, right? The prototype chamber? Ray froze. Riven turned to her. What's Arc 1? Ray whispered. The first Arc unit we ever built. The only one. We couldn't control. We thought it was dead, Alden added. It wasn't just enhanced. It was something else. A blend of alien DNA erased from early contacts. We were trying to build the next step, a hybrid leader for Earth's future wars, but it turned on us. You buried it? Riven asked. We sealed it so deep no one could reach it, Ray said, except Mira. Alarms wailed through Omega. Doors slammed shut. Lights blinked red dot in the genetics wing. Containment doors exploded outward. Soldiers screamed. Security drones fired blindly as something tore through the lower floors. Riven led the strike team down, his heart pounding. The deeper they went, the more twisted the facility became. Scorch marks on walls, shattered cryotubes, blood smeared across consoles. And then they saw at Arc-1.A, a towering figure of silver-black armor and pulsating blue veins. Its face was almost human but wrong. Too smooth, too perfect. And its eyes. Empty Mira stood beside it, almost worshipping. "You created him," she said. "Then you locked him away. But he's not your enemy. He's Earth's salvation." Arc-1 turned, voice deep and layered. "I was made to end your wars, not follow your orders." Ray's voice echoed through Riven's earpiece. "Do not let him reach the surface. If he connects to the Black Star core, he could take control of the entire fleet." Riven stepped forward. "You want to save Earth? Killing us won't do it." "I don't want to kill Earth," Arc-1 said. "To remake it. Purge the weakness, rebuild from the ashes." Mira added softly, "He is what we were always meant to become." "Then you've forgotten something," Riven said, raising his weapon. "We didn't survive because of strength. We survived because we chose to protect, not dominate." Fired first. The battle was chaos. Arc-1 moved like a ghost, faster than anything Riven had ever seen. One blow shattered steel, another crushed a Marine's armor like paper. Mira struck Toggle, deadly but she was still human underneath. Thorn arrived in time, flanking Arc-1 with a roar. The two clashed like titans, hurling one another through walls. But Arc-1 adapted fast. Too fast. "We can't kill it." A Marine shouted. "We don't have to," Riven yelled. "We just need to disconnect it." He sprinted past the fight, dodging debris and plasma, till he reached the control nexus, the heart of Omega. He slammed a spike into the system. Black Star override. "Emergency FLUESTA," the station rumbled. Power drained. Systems shut down. Arc-1 paused. Ray's voice came through one last time. "Riven, it's now or never." Riven looked up at the monster. "You were made to protect us. Then do it. Let us live." Arc-1 looked at him, and for the briefest moment, something human flickered in its eyes. Then it turned to Mira. "Goodbye. Bye," and walked into the core chamber, locking itself inside. Seconds later, a silent explosion of light filled the chamber as the Black Star core imploded. The alarms went silent. Omega stood still. Arc-1 was gone. Mira's body was found near the blast dash, lifeless. Riven sat in the ruins of the chamber, staring at the screen. "Status?" Ray asked softly. "Secure," he said. "For now." But inside he knew the truth. They had built monsters to fight monsters. And though one had chosen to fall on its sword, the idea was still alive. Weeks later, Earth held a quiet ceremony. There were no parades, no speeches, just silent acknowledgments between soldiers who had walked through hell and back. Above Earth, the fleet remained, waiting, watching, and far away, in a shattered piece of Citadel wreckage drifting beyond known space. A single backup file blinked back to life, labeled Arc-2.